If you came to this video looking for representation in Fire Emblem, being how minorities and other groups are represented in Fire Emblem, you will be sadly disappointed, and I should direct you to other videos talking about that topic as it does matter. However, if you came for how Fire Emblem characters are represented in other games, you came to the right spot. I'm Adhesive 3, and I'll be discussing how Fire Emblem characters shown in other games are not indicative of the whole series, using the example of Fire Emblem Warriors and Super Smash Bros. Let's start with the latter, and I know we don't want to start with the latter, but that latter introduced not only the West to Fire Emblem, but it's continually introducing people to Fire Emblem and is one of the biggest franchises. It's also not a ladder. Oh! I don't think I really gotta explain what Smash is that much. It's basically a huge crossover of Nintendo IPs and third-party ones like Snake and Joker, coming together and smashing each other. Fighting each other, that's what I meant. Smash is huge. There's all kinds of fighting tournaments, and people still, to this day, play this 20-year-old game. Mind you, there are quite newer games in this series. Because it's because it's considered by many the best one and the most fun to play. People love Smash. And why I'm making this video is because you probably got introduced to Fire Emblem by Smash, or hell, another character or series. I remember seeing Joker's reveal. That got me to play Persona 5 because it was so fucking cool. I played the first 3 Dragon Quest games because of Hero's inclusion in Smash. If you haven't played Fire Emblem and hate its representation in Smash's roster, you are not alone. And that's why I'm making this video, to show you the cooler parts of Fire Emblem, or I guess hotter. Yeah, we'll go with hotter. Starting out, we didn't even get any characters in 64 because Fire Emblem wasn't even out in the West. And even in Melee 2, which did feature 2 characters. Melee came out in 2001, Fire Emblem The Blazing Blade came out in 2003. 2 years later. Let's look at those 2 characters. Starting with Marth, an obvious choice. He is the face of Fire Emblem. Marth was the star of not 1, but 2 Fire Emblem games. Not a common thing for the protagonist in each game to have more than 1 game. Marth was in the first game that started it off. His inclusion makes sense and is perfect. He's just a sword-using badass at this time, not a topic of too many fucking clones in this game. Roy, the second character, is from a game I haven't had the luxury of playing yet, The Binding Blade. Now, the game hadn't even came out in Japan at this time. It would come out in 2002. This would serve as kind of the sneak peek of this new game at the time. And due to Melee's rushed development, we kind of got a clone of Marth. Both sword users, but remember, we in 2001, the towers just came down. We not chill, but we kinda chill at the moment because this is the first exposure of Fire Emblem to the Western audiences. And we got 2 sword-wielding badasses. Now later on, we get the Ike in the next installment of Smash. Super Smash Bros. Brawl, my first Smash game. They gave Mario realistic denim. Ike would be replacing Roy. Because get out of here, red hair guy, we only like blue hair guys. No, it was because the newest Fire Emblem game was Radiant Dawn. Again, games I haven't played because fuck you, Intelligent Systems. He's yet again another sword user, but has a different moveset. Roy and Ike to me are fine inclusions right now because, well, they are the only 2 representing Fire Emblem in Smash. And they look cool and advertise the new game, even though you still can't legally play one of them. Smash 4 comes, but what also comes is Awakening. Fire Emblem Awakening. Awakening the fans who haven't played Fire Emblem. Awakening something inside you that you didn't know you wanted. Did you know you wanted a furry-coated rabbit wife? Well, that's what you're gonna get, and you're gonna like it. Fire Emblem saved this Titanic from sinking. That means it saved the series and Intelligent Systems from going bankrupt. The added benefit of there's a whole bunch of new fans. I can't remember if I played Smash or Awakening first. They both were around the same time, but Awakening would be my first Fire Emblem. I know, I'm a baby. Fans wanted Chrom in the game because, I mean, Matt Mercer Blue Man, what's not to love? But Sakurai said, nah, he too much like Ike, so he decided to put Lucina in the game. Lucina not only looks like Marth, she fucking poses as him in the game she comes from. Spoiler alert for a 2013 game, Smash is not the kindest with spoilers. I'm not gonna say the twist, play the game if you haven't, but let's just say the inclusion and the identity of the character is a huge fucking twist and awakening. You see, Lucina was supposed to be an alternate costume, but they had a lot of time, so they just made another fucking character. Blue-haired sword user. And finally, fucking Robin comes out too. Robin is quite different. I'm gonna refer to the Avatar characters as they, because they include both genders, are not a lord from the Fire Emblem games. Instead, they are a customizable self-insert. Robin being one of the better ones because they have their own story. Robin also has white hair, and you'll notice they have a fucking sword. God damn. Oh, wait, they have magic too. The sword isn't the focal point of the character. Still, at this time, there's not much outrage like we see today because Lucina, Marth, and Robin are 3 characters, and hey, Awakening was super popular. Lucina and Robin are some of the biggest parts of those games. No Chrom, but we alright. Then we get the Smash DLC and we start to see the problems arising, slowly bubbling. Roy gets introduced, a fan favorite that got cut in Smash 4. Okay, but sword user and kind of a clone. But still highly sought over because he was in Melee. Then, ooh boy. This was during the final Smash Direct. People were looking forward to their fan favorite characters to show up. I was awaiting. I remember I think I put 2 characters in that poll. One was Gengar, I think, and I'm pretty sure I did Shrek too, for the fucking meme. I was like 10, okay? It was the relatively niche series that just got a bigger fan base's character. The one with slightly changed copy-pasted characters. But it was chill at the time because there wasn't a lot of them in the roster. People didn't really like this one, and for good reason. Hell, even though I loved the reveal trailer, this was not a good pick. Another Avatar character from some of the worst games in the series. These 2, not this one. With yet another sword. Smashing their hopes of their probably way more unique character getting in. Also, Fate's Hand came out in America, so the marketing strategy didn't help either. Smash Ultimate comes out, and little Smash Piss Boys stop pissing for a moment. Because everybody is here. So that means all of the Fire Emblems, mostly sword users, except for like 1 technically, are here. But that doesn't matter because Snake is here, Pichu is here, Ice Climbers don't have to worry about a 3DS version disregarding them. There is still jokes and whatnot about the characters in the roster. I mean hell, even Sakurai agrees with y'all. Why else is Lucina an Echo Fighter? But remember the bickering about Chrom being in the game? Well, surprise, he's here, and it's blue hair guy with sword, but he's an Echo Fighter of Roy, kind of like the Echo Fighter of Roy. And now on to the newest character as of this video, Byleth, who I think is probably, out of all the avatars, is most deserving of a spot. I mean, if it was my vision, I probably wouldn't have any of the avatars anywhere near here or Corrin during a family reunion.
Close your eyes. Your lips taste just like I imagined.
Byleth, in my opinion, is the best avatar character. They don't speak and they have a unique Stretch Armstrong sword. They also have a cool power called Divine Pulse, which allows them to go back in time, but I don't think this power is very utilized in Smash. But it's another sword-using Fire Emblem character, taking up a spot in the DLC when the previous ones were all very well received. People will view Byleth and probably any other Fire Emblem character that comes out in a new Smash game as a waste of a slot, and nothing more. How did we get here? Well, I think the main issue is the everyone is here thing. Everyone definitely didn't need to be here. Why is Pichu here? I know it's probably sacrilegious to say, but it wasn't the main thing I was excited for about Ultimate. The main thing I was excited for was mainly the spirits and story mode, but the second thing I was excited for was the new characters. Inkling, Ridley, King K. Rool, Simon Belmont. All of these are great additions that had great reveals, and each character has a great and unique moveset. This could have been the perfect time to fix the Fire Emblem cast, but we're stuck with this mess. Unless Sakurai decides to make another Smash game and hopefully knows to, make a smaller roster. How can you move on from Ultimate? Just make a smaller game. It's like going from JoJo Part 3 to 4, damn it. And Part 4 is better because of the smaller location. And the biggest point I have here is that picture a series, any series. Imagine all of the characters in that series. They could probably fit in a mansion or something. Now, picture Fire Emblem. Its characters could fit in multiple mansions. Fire Emblem is all about its characters and war, and people die in war. So it introduces the permadeath mechanic. Your unit dies, they are gone forever. Unless you reset or play casual in the newer games, and then they just come back. But in the older ones, this is what it's all about. So if your characters can die, you're gonna need a lot of them. In fact, in Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon for DS, there are optional chapters that you can play only if a certain amount of your army has died. And those chapters usually involve recruiting a sort of backup character you can use if you basically failed. Fire Emblem has a whole bunch of characters. Your minimum army for these games is gonna be like 30 characters. You play something like Revelations, I can't remember the number, but it's somewhere in the places of 60 to 80 units. That's just playable characters. I'm not even including the villains or non-playable characters. And guess what's the kicker? Swords are okay in Fire Emblem mostly. Well, I'll tell you what is broken. Pegasus Knights, Cavaliers, Armor Knights, Axe users, Bow users, Lance users, Magic users, fucking ninjas, fucking dragons, fucking rabbits. There is a whole lot of weapons and abilities these characters use, not just swords. So for my final section of this video, I'm going to be talking about characters I would like to see be included in a hypothetical roster. Note, I haven't played all of the games, so if I'm missing some big character, that's probably why. But I think anything I or literally anybody else comes up with would probably be better than the roster now. And while I'm at it, I encourage you to form your own roster of what you'd like to see in the comments down below. Let's start out with, I'm gonna wipe out all the characters from the roster and only Marth stays. He's the face of the franchise and the coolest out of all of them. We kind of get into the big problem that the developers face. The big stars of Fire Emblem, the protagonists, are not cool. It sucks to say, but most Fire Emblem protagonists are sword-based. The newest ones are avatar or self-inserts, but most of the time, even in their own games, they're simply not cool and get overshadowed by the better, cooler units in the game. There are, however, two examples of protagonists I would like to see. Let's start with Fire Emblem 7. And when I think of missed potential, I think of Hector. Come on, a main protagonist from the first Fire Emblem in the West. He's got blue hair, but he also has an axe. He's the best out of the trio of lords in 7. Hell, if he gets confused with Ike or Chrom, just use the Fire Emblem 6 version, where he has a beard. He'll stand out even more. But we could also use Lyn too. Eliwood not so much. He's the father of Roy. 7 is a prequel to 6, by the way. He's just too much like Roy. Lyn has green hair, uses swords, but she can also use bows. I think her main selling point is she's quite different from Marth in looks. Then I also have Dimitri, Claude, and Edelgard from Three Houses. I'm actually surprised they didn't go with one of these from the DLC instead of Byleth. Again, 3 main lords, none of them use swords. Dimitri is a lance user, Claude is a bow user, and Edelgard is an axe user. But with both of these characters, they come from a trio of characters, and it's kind of hard to stray one of them away from each other. So I have 3 ideas for how they could implement this. 1, they just pick one of the characters and they don't do anything with the other 2. Not very desirable. 2, they pick one of the characters to use but have the other 2 either as assist trophies, or spirits, or whatever the equivalent would be. This would be the most likely to happen and very desirable. 3 is just a random idea I had. Hear me out. What if it worked like Pokemon Trainer? I don't know, Byleth out on the sidelines or something, or Mark out too, and you get to play as each 3 characters. One of them dies, loses a stock, another one joins the fray. It's kind of dumb, but I think you get to play more characters and see them. The Pokemon Trainer could actually rework maybe some of the Avatar characters. Most of the Avatar characters are tacticians of the army, so you could pick maybe 3 units to command. I don't know, Robin gets Kellum, Lanku, and the Vike. Lance, sword, and axe user, all a part of the weapon triangle. You could pick any unit from Awakening, and you could do this with any of the Avatar characters, including the newest from Engage. You get the protagonist, 3 characters, and they don't have to be sword users. Hell, you can make it so they have distinct classes like sword, lance, and axe, have them all have the same moveset, and then for the character costumes, just switch out the characters that fit that class. This is probably a pain to program, so I think 3 characters is more likely, but I was thinking more along the lines of Bowser Jr. and the Koopalings. We could do characters that are of the many archetypes found in Fire Emblem. For example, Jagen, probably the most known archetype. A super strong unit with good bases, bad growths, carries the early game, falls off in the late game. Jagen is this older man, and if a horse is too complicated, I say that the DS remake of Shadow Dragon allows class changes, so checkmate Fire Emblem liberals, it's called dark humor. How about Tiki, probably as infamous as Marth as the face of the series, can turn into a dragon and you got yourself an interesting character. Anna, also a face of Fire Emblem, has many reoccurring appearances. You could maybe go the Dragon Quest hero route, and her alternate costumes are of different games' interpretations of the characters. She doesn't have to just use a sword. Hell, I was thinking more of a joke, interesting character, where she uses money to attack or something. Give her a fucking money bag to smack at people. Hell, what's to say we can't have villains in too? Zelda has Ganon, Mario has Bowser. All of these from Fire Emblem are heroes. We could have, I don't know, Rudolph or Berkut from Gaiden and Echoes, Valadar or Gangreal from Awakening. I haven't played the Tellius games, but the Black Knight looks cool as hell. What about the Death Knight or Kranya from Three Houses? There's a lot of cool villains in Fire Emblem. And Fire Emblem has a ton of cool characters in general. That is my ideas on how to fix the roster. Again, let me know what your roster would look like. I didn't get to do as many non-lord or important characters like I thought I would. I kept in mind that character importance matters in Smash. No one is getting excited if Riss is announced tomorrow. These characters are basically marketing Fire Emblem. And it's why the problem exists. Protagonists aren't as cool and mostly sword-locked. So my roster would probably be Marth, Lyn or Hector, Tiki, Anna, any of the 3 lords from 3 houses or all of them, the Black Knight, and 2 archetypal characters like Jagen and Camus. I think the main takeaway from this video is that not all Fire Emblem characters are blue-haired sword guys. Stay tuned for Warriors, the sequel. Oh hey, thanks for staying tuned in for almost 2 years. Yeah, sorry about that. Do you remember Fire Emblem Warriors? If you said no, you probably have a job. Well, anyways, it's like if you combine Dynasty Warriors, this game series about like killing tons of enemies on the screen, and Fire Emblem. But like the worst aspects of Fire Emblem. Like a majority of the roster is from the most recent games at the time, Awakening and Fates. And like they throw in a couple Shadow Dragon guys to go, hey, see, we know Fire Emblem, right? Fire a game, you shameless shills! It's like if I sat beside the one black person at a waiting room and just started blaring Kendrick from my phone, and then just subtly showing my phone screen with the brightness on, clearly outlining that Kendrick is being played, and that I do in fact care about my brothers. You could have put fucking Ike at least in there, at least. This roster is fucking horrible, and you should be ashamed of yourself if you designed it or think that it's good. It's worse than the Smash Bros roster. You have the chance to use any of these characters, and this is what you come up with? At least with the Smash Bros roster, you have more than like 3 games. Now you may be asking yourself, why did I take so long making this? Well, my original plan was that I was going to get a lot more of the Fire Emblem games done. I have, since the first video has been made, have played Path of Radiance. So I'm gonna kind of LARP here. Because if I was an actual fan, I would say that Warriors shouldn't have been made, and actually Fire Emblem is a terrible franchise. That's what an actual fan would say. There is 32 characters in this game. 23 base, 9 DLC. Guess what the DLC is? 6 from the fucking Awakening and Fates. 3 from Shadow Dragon. Fuck this game! And also, half this game is the fucking Royals from Fates. Now, I'm not saying I can make a perfect roster, but I think I can come up with something at least better than this. Also, to note, I'm going to use the games that were out by the time this was made. So, up until, like, Fates. No 3 Houses or Engage. My first and most likely to have happen and preferable idea was to have a slot for each lord of the game, and they get representative with them. That way we get about the same roster we have now, but just base. So it would be Marth, Alm or Celica, or maybe have like a cloak and dagger thing where you could swap between them. But I would actually just cut Alm altogether because Celica uses magic, and most of the lords, like I said with Smash, are sword locked and male. I'll get to the sword lock thing later, give me a second. So Celica would be number 2. Skip Fire Emblem 3 unless you want to count Chris for whatever reason. Then I would have Sigurd or Seliph, probably just Sigurd, Leaf, Roy, and because we have Roy, I'm going to skip Eliwood and Lyn because she's a sword user. So we're going to go with Hector as our FE7 Lord representative. Erica or Ephraim, I like the way Engage did it, but I would just go Erica if I had to choose one. Then Ike and Micaiah. Also to note, these games feature outfits, so I would definitely put like young Ike and old Ike and young Hector and old Hector. Hell, you can make like, for FE7, maybe Hector decides he wants to be fucking Lyn or Eliwood for a change. Kind of like Echo Fighters. Skip 11 because it's a remake, and 12. Now for Awakening, I'm not going to use Robin. I don't really want to use the Avatar characters for a reason. Again, I'll get to that. And no Chrom, I'm going to use Lucina, a very good representative. And like, it's 2016. You've gotten your chance to play Awakening by this time. And for Fates, no Corrin. I would actually give it to both Xander and Ryoma, since I'm nice to these games. And I would also give them both a representative from Conquest and Birthright. Because they are 2 different games technically, but no Revelations, because Revelations is a mistake. And it should have just been those 2 games instead. So I have 12 lords, and I'm going to give them each another representative. So for like Lucina, she could have Virion, or Robin. Nah, I wouldn't do that. Or like Erica, you could have like Seth or Lute. Now, I'm not going to go in depth for this part because, well, I haven't played every game. And so I'm just going to be LARPing. But picture like a couple Jagans, like a couple archetypes like I did in Smash, some fan favorites, and then you could put like maybe 1 or 3 sleeper picks in there, like Dolph. Who fucking uses Dolph? There is a ton of characters from these games. It's hard to choose. Each game could have its own Dynasty Warrior game based around it. So then you would have 24, 1 more than the base. But here, I'm gonna go with my wacky shenanigans. I'm gonna have an Avatar character-esque thing. Don't worry, it's kind of like Shez and Rowan. Although, I don't know if you want it to be like Rowan. More like Shez. I would just want them to be their own established character, not a self-insert with an established name. The only thing though is that they can use all the available classes that's there. And it's gonna work like it does in the game already. I like the whole reclassing and promotion thing. I would keep that. You know, random RPG level ups, that's Fire Emblem. And that's where the whole sword lock thing would come in. Because like Lucina could use lances, or like you could have them go into a cavalry unit. Fuck it, just make up a class. Or even more fuck it, just have them go into classes that they wouldn't even go into normally. This is fucking Warriors, anything can happen. Yeah, fuck it, Marth could use a wyvern now. Fuck it, Celica goes into a fucking Dark Knight or something. To add on to this, I'm also including Anna and Tiki, because you kinda just have to. So I would ideally have 27 about this point. And I would have like 3 villains, probably just original ones, not like in the OG game where you had like Valadar or fucking Iago. Who fucking likes Iago? So then I would have 30 characters spread about from all the games. To even add more upon my twisted, sick fantasy of a better Fire Emblem Warriors game, I would have like weapons named after characters, and like that's their weapon. Like let's say you get a faster character than Hector, or like there's an axe he uses, he becomes faster, or like Ike, he gets a Myrmidon character, and this is his Myrmidon sword, he becomes faster. Or like maybe he could get an Armor Knight who can't even use swords, but it's named after them, and he gets like a defense boost, but he's really slow and powerful. It's just an idea. But I think a better one would kind of be like the My Fairy system, the ring system from Engage, where you get all these collectible things, and maybe like they just give you a slight buff or cool useful ability like Lock Touch or Poison Strike. Hell, even just Luck +4 or something. Every time it activates, the character does like a crit line or something. You know, just anything, so the other characters get something at least. As for DLC, I would probably just have another 12 characters from the game to add. Maybe even smaller. Like maybe just like Alm, Lynn, Eliwood, Ephraim, Robin, and Corin. If I was nice. You know, get the other lords we scrapped. Maybe the villains. Not really thinking like a AAA developer, am I? Because I'm not concerned about the DLC before the game launches. It may be going triple negative in real life, but this sucker's in triple platinum in my mind. Another idea for the game's approach could have basically been like 3 Hopes, and in that it's solely based around one game like Awakening or Fates. Those were the newest at the time, and we could just get those characters, which could be like half the roster of those games, or maybe all if they felt like it. Probably not, because I forgot about the child units. So like half the roster. And like it's an alternate retelling or a different story, or maybe even a sequel or something. I'm thinking maybe towards Awakening, but they could have maybe saved the sinking reputation that is of Fates. And that's just my ideas I jotted down. Luckily 3 Hopes came out, and while I haven't finished it or really got that much yet into it, it has a much better focused roster and a much better story than the first trash fire of a Warriors game we got. Let me know down in the comments what you have put in your choices for your roster, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye!